And a very good morning to you. Welcome back to K24. My name is Muraguri and this is Relationship Thursdays. We're talking about love after death. Love after the death of a spouse. How do you reconcile with that? There's so many dynamics involved. Children and property and your in-laws and the former in-laws. Maswali yanakuwa mengi tena sana. And today I'm joined by Reverend William Odero from ICC Kitengela, the senior pastor there. We also have Beatrice Muraguri, who is a marriage counselor. Karibuni tena once again.
Thank you.
Before we went on a break, we have received a couple of calls. But there's one thing that Beatrice, you said, and I want Pastor to respond to this. And it is what she said about someone else kukua pale kwa fence. Immediately, and especially for us men, immediately you lose a loved one, or rather your wife, kidogo kidogo, a month later, sometimes even a week later, kuna mama anafua nguo hapo nje kwako.
Akianua.
Akianua, akianika na pia unasikia mchuzi unanukia kwa hiyo nyumba. Pasi, care to comment on that?
Yes, as I did mention earlier, that the issues of love, the issues of relationships are issues of the heart. And I know Beatrice had alluded earlier that, you know, when one passes on, then, you know, you go through a lot of phases. And sometimes you want to fill that gap as soon as you can.
Right.
But depending with the individual again, and also, you know, when you lose a spouse, the dynamics changes, the environment changes. You could be having children, you know, in the process. And it's important also to not only consider yourself, but also the children, so that you walk through this process together. Because such a situation will introduce you now to a blended family. A blended family is where now one spouse have children. You could be also coming in, maybe with your own children.
Right.
So you see the dynamics changes a lot, and it's important for the people concerned to be at a point where they are thinking the process in the long term. That will help them now know how to navigate through relationship. But I like what Beatrice did mention earlier. Because of the grieving process, there are moments that you will, it will be like part of the grieving. And that's why it's always good to get somebody to walk alongside you to be able to know, are you doing this as a process of grieving, or are you building a relationship? And we do know that relationships progress over time. Even for a normal relationship, before you marry, there are issues of dating, you know,
courtship,
you get to know the family side, both ends, and even for this, the process should follow the same pattern. You need to know the person, you know, and be at a place where deep down in your heart, now you're saying, this is a person that you can settle with. And let them also see the realities on the ground. If they are coming, let's say you are a widower, and you had like 2 children,
right?
And the person who is coming, is she at a place where she will appreciate and recognize that you are married, so that these other children are not, you know, sidelined, because now the relationship is between the two of you.
Right.
Is she coming to a place where she will be a mother to these children, you know? And that's what I would recommend, that the process should be in a mature way, that you deal with issues in the long term, so that again somebody does not come and you get disappointed on arrival, and it becomes a big challenge.
Beatrice, this person that is coming, this woman that is probably joining me and my 2 kids, what do they need to first of all understand, apart from the fact that it's quite obvious, I'm a widower, but what else do they need to come armed with to be able to deal with the situation? And before you answer that, let's talk to Victor. Victor, good morning. Peter,
good morning.
Sorry. How are you doing, Peter?
I am well, thank you.
All right, Peter, what is your question or comment?
Now, my comment is theological. I would want to challenge our theologians and our pastors,
right,
on their theological accompaniment when someone loses a spouse. I think our theology is wanting.
How so?
I remember I lost my wife like 7 years ago.
Pole sana.
And the theology, the issue of dying and the process of dying and life thereafter, and especially when you have children, like myself, I have 3 babies. Actually, my wife passed on after delivering a baby girl, who is now 7 years.
Okay.
But I would say that what the society puts you through a lot of stress, so to say.
Okay.
And I challenge also the notion that men must marry and women should not marry.
Okay.
Like, I keep asking, why is it that we say men must marry, or you have children, you must marry immediately? And for women, I keep asking, if, for example, it is me who had died and my wife was left.
Yeah.
I keep asking, why is it that she will also be given the same reason? You have a car, you have a house, you have a home, you have children, but you can't marry. But for the man to marry.
Yes.
I keep saying people marry for companionship.
True.
And I think the church and theologians must work very hard to come up with a theology that will affirm people who have lost loved ones, be it men or women. And it should be an ongoing process so that we help people heal. I think the things that we say and the things that we do are not really nice. So the pastor there and the counselor there, please come up with some theology or some serious accompaniment. Because I've seen people who, even a caller who had called before and said that sometimes when someone is terminally ill, like you are more prepared. I don't think so. There's no time when you're prepared for. Just now, I am trying to help a friend who the wife was terminally ill for over 7 years, and the guy just the other day attempted suicide.
Wow.
So we really need to really come up with some serious accompaniment, both theological and professional.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Peter from Uthiru. Pasi, care to respond to that?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Peter. And it's always good when you hear from somebody who is going through the process.
Okay.
You know, theology is the study of Word of God. I think the biggest challenge is the interpretation. When we study the Word of God, how do we then interpret it to make it relevant and useful for us?
Okay.
And I agree with Peter that as a church, as professionals, we have a responsibility to be relevant to people, to be relevant to the society. And that's why the church is always on the ground trying to identify with the people. And once we identify with the people, we are looking at how best can we then serve the community. Because the church is not just a tower outside there that is, coming up with issues, but it ought to be integrated. And how can we be integrated? By hearing, what people are going through, and we are saying, how best then can we serve you?
Yes.
And even as Beatrice said that, and you also alluded to it at some point, that we are all different. We grieve differently. The environment is different. You know, my spouse might pass on, and I choose to raise my children the way I am. For somebody else, it will be totally different. And I like what Peter is also saying. It's not that we advocate that a man needs to marry.
Yeah.
Beatrice did mention here, and I like it because it's coming from a lady's perspective, that sometimes the Bible says that I will make a helpmate for you. Yes. And that was in Genesis, Genesis chapter 2, when God was addressing the loneliness of Adam. And therefore, you find that in most situations, the ladies have been given the nurturing ability that they are able to come alongside a man and create an environment that nurtures, an environment that, a home looks hospitable.
Right.
Not that a man cannot make it happen. It's just a natural progression of the process. And I think that's why, by default, men find themselves easier to remarry. But also, naturally and the way things are, men are the ones who reach out. If in the dating process, a man takes the initiative. It is rare, and of course now we are encouraging, it's rare to find the ladies taking initiative. Right. And I think that's why it becomes naturally easier for a man to remarry. A lady will wait for somebody
to approach.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. There you have it. Very interesting perspective indeed. Beatrice, you look like you want to say something about that.
I concur with Reverend William.
Yeah.
about men taking the initiative. But I would also like to say that nowadays we are also taking the initiative. We are also reaching out.
Oh, yeah,
because
that is good.
the way the society is, you find that you've sat for so long waiting for somebody to reach out. So if Muhammad cannot go to the mountain,
the mountain will come to Muhammad. Okay, we have a Ruth from Nairobi. Ruth, good morning.
Hello?
Hello, Ruth. How are you doing?
Yeah, hello. I'm doing very well.
All right. What is your question or comment?
My comment is about the debate that is going on.
Okay.
And it's a very interesting debate, and I truly appreciate you bringing this up.
Karibu sana.
This ni situation ambayo inasumbua watu wengi sana in the community.
Kweli.
My concern is that as much as there is a pastor on this forum, I want to concur with the two callers who called about the church has really neglected, especially the widows.
Okay.
They don't really get that much support. That much support from the church.
Yes.
Because, for instance, for me, I was very much in church, and I lost my husband, and people knew in the church, and I got very little support. Because even I had a very serious matter which ended up in court, and I didn't get any support from the church.
Yes.
So I would really want to encourage the church that widows really suffer. They suffer a lot.
Okay.
Because our society today is not like before.
Yeah.
When the society has disintegrated. You know, you lose your spouse, your family, extended family members are not with you, and the people you can really incline to as your family is the church. The church only supports people who are close to the leaders, or maybe who are mainly active in church.
Ruth,
but if you are a side member, nobody really cares about you. For me, this is a really major concern for me.
Can I ask you something, Ruth?
Yes.
In, like, for example, in your situation, how would you have loved the church to come in and help?
I would have loved at least that encouragement, that support, that guidance, that show of love, you know, the true, genuine life of Jesus.
Yeah.
Because love is mainly explained and demonstrated when you are going through pain.
Very true.
When you are going through a loss.
Yes.
I didn't see that guidance. I didn't see that love. That there was not even a single follow-up.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much, Ruth. Percy again. I think I will throw this to you before Beatrice comes in.
I hear Ruth, and I must apologize. Actually, the Bible is very clear that the true religion is a religion that takes care of the widows and the widowers. But the Bible also says that God is the father to the fatherless and the husband to the widow. But having said that, and I think I'd already alluded to that, I would encourage, if somebody is in a situation like Ruth, it's always good to go, and you can talk to your pastors, you can talk to the leadership, you can be an awakening call to something that probably they were not aware and they were not seeing, and then dialogue, how else can we support? And I know there are many things that go in a life, in the life of the church. I'm not defending the church, but I know it is the responsibility, and again, church is composed of people. If it is a big church, the pastor cannot do everything. They have to rely on lay people to come alongside. So I would encourage Ruth, or somebody else who is going through such a situation, never walk alone. You know, sometimes you can be wounded, and then you don't get out, as psychologists will tell you, and counselors, that it's always good for you to reach out. When you're going through pain, you can be a victim of your own pain. Yes. You can be a victim of your own pain, that you don't reach out, and then people don't get to know that actually you are in pain. So I would encourage Ruth, and somebody like Ruth also, that you can look out. And if your church does not have a program, try and find out, is there a church? I know here in Nairobi, there are networks of even, there is a meeting that happens at All Saint Cathedral, which is like interdenominational, that you can also be part of. So that at least you find a community, people who are able to understand you, people are also, but having said that, let me also mention that is so sad to see that the families, you know, which, you know, God's intention was also that the families need to be at a place where they are supporting.
Yes.
And there are many widows, particularly widows, and I've worked with a number of them, who you find that they are really harassed by the members of the family.
Yes.
And I would appeal to, you know, I'll appeal to people, if somebody has lost a husband or has lost a wife, we should always be at a place where we know that even the pain of losing a loved one is not easy.
Yes.
The pain of raising the children alone is not easy. And what we need support. We don't need people now to be looking at the property, as my sister was saying, that now this is an opportunity for you to come and look, what did my brother leave, you know.
Let me take the car, let me take the house.
Yeah. No, it's not good. Actually, it's a curse.
Now that Ruth has actually mentioned that, and Pasi here has also mentioned it, like we were saying, when you're coming to meet this widower or this widow and you want to have a relationship with them, but there are those dynamics. The kids, I mean, we can love kids, haina shida. Lakini sasa inafika wakati, there are court cases, OSG, they want to take the car away from this man or this woman, they want to take the land and the houses from this man, they want to take over the business. Beatrice, how do we deal with such situations?
Good question. Buvi, there is no game with no rules. If there is a game with no rules, then that's not a game. Just like the way you approached your first spouse and came up with a constitution, I call it a constitution, on how you would like your life to be in future, that is in case you end up together. The same way when you're bringing in this person on board, it's always good from the word go. Don't bring them in the name of filling the gap. Don't forget, for that gap to be there was an individual. That individual supported your dreams. Yeah, as a spouse, as a couple, the family had a vision, and you are working towards that vision. It's always very important now when you are now coming together now for the second time, now getting the second spouse. It's always important for both of you, because don't forget, you did not come from isolation. You have come, probably in most cases, you've come from other relationships. It could have been another relationship that never worked, or you've never married but you have kids. So at one point in time, you had some association somewhere. So it's always good, because as long as you are living, you have got your dreams that you support, isn't it? Huh? So bring them on board, put them on the table, changanua zote. How can you blend the two dreams together so that you can work together? And it's also very important for you, the one who lost your spouse, to get to understand, to get the person who is coming in, understand the route that you had followed. And in most cases in marriage, sometimes, maybe, probably even the one who went was not following the route you wanted. You don't go saying that the person who was here did not follow the route I wanted, but just state the way you'd like things to be. Because there are some reasons why this person maybe never told the line. And you also had your own areas of improvements. We don't call them weaknesses. You also had your own areas of improvement. And if there are kids on board, you end up as I concur with Reverend William, that you are coming up now with the blended families. And you are coming up with a blended family whereby children from your spouse have come from different home setup. And if every home has got its own way of raising up kids. So again, you have a lot of time to sit down and formulate the way you'll be raising up these kids. And when I talk about raising up these kids, I'm not just saying that you need to, the person coming in must just come up with the small kids. Apana, watu wanaolewa mpaka wakiwa na watu wazima. But they must fit in the family vision. So our viewer this morning would like to say this. We should not just see the matter of filling in the gap. There are other dynamics that makes the marriage work, which actually need to be addressed from the word go, so that you can work together.
All right. Addressed so that you can work together. Pasi, there's a caller who mentioned something to do with fear. Of course, we are afraid of so many things. We are afraid of becoming a failure. We're even afraid of losing that spouse again. You know, if you lost one through a car accident or through cancer or diabetes, there's that fear. How do you overcome that fear?
The Bible tells us that the love of God casts out fear. And as psychologists and counselors will tell you that fear is something that, you know, you have to overcome.
Right.
And there is a process of overcoming fear. So if you have the fear of death, I think the best I would encourage, particularly for the caller or somebody who has a fear of death, look for professional help, because there is a process that will go through with you,
yes.
And is not just a one time that we can meet or one day and the fear is gone. Will help you overcome fear, particularly the fear of death. But it's very true. Once you've lost a loved one, you will automatically, even when you go back to that particular house, you find
yes.
that some people, you have to move houses.
Right.
Even if the house was yours, you bought it, you may temporarily go and rent another house so that you are able to overcome the fear of coming back in that bedroom, you know, you are used to seeing, and even for the sake of the children. Then professionally you can be helped to go through that. Yeah.
So Beatrice, maybe parting shot as we close.
Maybe I can give a psychological aspect to
Sure,
words. Yeah.
sure.
When you feel that you have that extreme fear, the first step to deal with fear is acknowledge that it's there, and then confront, and make sure that which is causing you fear, you confront it. And in most cases, you start with the grave. People fear the grave of their loved ones. Keep on visiting. Yeah, that room whereby maybe you don't just run away. Continue visiting, even if you change maybe a room for some time, but continue, at least a day, you make sure unaingia wapi. So my parting shot is this. I would like to tell people, those who help, the social group that help the people who just have lost their loved ones. There's one thing I would request you not to be telling them. Ati, I understand how you feel. You can never understand how they feel simply because Buvi. Only the person who lost their loved ones knows how they were connected with the person who is dead. Okay? So, and then the second thing that we would discourage people from doing, don't stop people from crying. It is therapy on its own. That is the first therapy. Allow them to cry.
Let them cry.
And crying is not a sign of weakness.
That's
I'm
right.
Beatrice Muraguri. Facebook, Counselor Beatrice Modhoni. Instagram, Counselor Beatrice Muraguri. Thank you.
Karibu tena sana. Pastor William, thank you very much for gracing us. This conversation looks like it's very long, and I think we can have it again, but from a different perspective.
That's right.
Thank you very much as well for joining us this morning as far as that conversation is concerned. If you'd like to talk to any of these individuals, that is Reverend William or even Beatrice, kindly let us know. We shall definitely put you in touch. Right now, though, I think we've come to the end, gentleman rather, and lady. Yeah. In terms of grieving, and I don't know, have you guys helped someone go through that particular loss?
It's a pretty hard phase because, like you said, there are memories you've shared, there's all of these things you shared, and now trying to get back into that space, it's almost human to try and compare with who was there before. So even like Kagwema was saying, you look for somebody who probably understands what it feels like to lose someone, because yes, you'll be there to empathize, but they're sitting there thinking, but you don't know. You can't really understand what I'm feeling.
Right, and then there's obviously, like the way you said, comparing the new spouse with your former spouse, and you know, you'll be like, but they never used to do that, and you don't do this the way they used to, you know. So yeah, it's readjusting all over and getting to know someone again from the beginning. That's tough.
Wow. All right. So that's where we close the conversation. We say kwaheri for now. However, tomorrow is Hangout Friday. Mamito Eunice is coming to cook with us in the kitchen with Chef Manga, and lots more in store for you.
Okay, fantastic stuff. We say bye-bye. The Daily Brief is up next. Samuel Jeroge, Shiksha Aurora from 9 a.m. Have a great day. Back tomorrow. Bye-bye.